For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
Hey, so John, did you get your crawler? I know you don't like dunks, but I just happened to be here in India and you agreed to meet with me. And so, hey, John, is that Craig Gallant over there in the corner? Hey,
I think.
Oh my God, Craig, what are you doing in Indianapolis Dunkin' Donuts?
What? Having one of these new cheesecake squares, man.
Are they good? Do you like them?
Yeah, well, it's weird. It's weird, and this is the God's honest truth. All around the edges is great, but the middle, there's just not enough donut. It's too much of the cheesecake filling.
Not enough donut. This donut.
I'm doing like the opposite of eating a donut. I'm eating the donut and leaving the hole.
That should really be that should be like the slogan for Dunkin' Donuts.
What's that?
Like not really eating a donut. It's like the opposite of eating a donut.
Wow.
Listen, Indy boy. Look. Okay, leave the hate at the door.
Right. What are you, Canadian now? You going to give us the Tim Hortons lecture or something?
No, in Indianapolis, it's Long's Bakery. That's the place to go.
Long's Bakery. Well, we have we have exceptional.
We have our real bakeries too, you know.
Right, but we're
when you need a chain that's 3 or 4 per little town.
Right.
Dunkin' Donuts is the way to go.
Look, it's the Rebels Donut Shop. It's the Rebels Coffee Shop who doesn't want to go to Starbucks. That's what Dunkin' Donuts is.
That's exactly
Dunkin' Donuts because beggars can't be choosers.
Dunkin' Donuts because we can't afford Starbucks. That's what it really is.
What are you, like, got a sheet of these?
You can go all night.
Wow.
In today's Lost Chapter, we're just going to crap on Dunkin' Donuts.
All right. Thank you for that, John. Anyway, I'm here in Indianapolis. I'm scouting out here, John. I can't wait for GenCon. It's getting so close. What is up with GenCon being in July this year, John?
Yeah, it's closer than it's supposed to be.
Right?
I really have no idea. I don't know. They moved it back, 2 weeks? And so starting on July the 30th this year, and I don't know why.
Getting very dangerously close to my son's birth.
I think it slips back next year. I think this is an aberration. So I don't think it's always going to be this early. I don't know why.
Yeah. But hey, why complain about GenCon being early?
No, I'm not. I'm just... In fact, it's better because I take my whole family now, so anything that makes it a little farther from when school starts is good.
Oh, see, and here in Indiana, my kids actually start school the week of GenCon. They start the Monday before GenCon.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they start school the Monday before. Did
you guys just get rid of summer? Take a third of it off? Well, how does that work?
In our school district, it's called the balanced calendar, where they get 2 weeks for fall break, 2 weeks for winter break, and 2 weeks for spring break, and then the summer is only like 8 weeks long.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, I'm using my personal data device. And I have the next 6 GenCon dates.
Ooh.
Right? Next year, it's August 4th through the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2016. 2017, it's the 17th through the 20th.
Yeah.
So actually later. And then 2018, it's the 2nd through the 5th of August.
So it moves. It's like
And then the 19th, it's the 1st through the 4th of August. And then in 2020, when everybody's eyesight is going to miraculously fix itself. It's July 30th to August 2nd again.
So the thing to remember about GenCon is it's like the moons. It kind of moves back and forth, but you always get it once a year. Right?
That's right. It's like the tide.
So let's talk about what we're excited about for GenCon this year.
Oh my God, countdown to GenCon, 69 days.
It's getting closer.
Are you on the GenCon website?
I'm on the GenCon website.
Someone's on the
Discover
GenCon.
Adventure.
Best 4 days of gaming.
Get your badge.
Get your badge.
You said that exactly when I looked at the Get Your Badge in the top left-hand corner there.
Yeah,
I
do wish you could search for events without having to log in. I find that annoying. But anyway.
But let's not talk about what's annoying. Let's talk about what we're looking forward to.
So what are you looking forward to this year? I mean, let's talk a little bit about last year for just a second, though. Are there anything we hope that they change a little bit this year?
I hope that Fantasy Flight Games, and they won't do it because they have absolutely no reason whatsoever, but I hope they change how you get into their booth.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait in a giant long line to buy stuff. So, and that was, I mean, I understand at the beginning of every day there's a little bit of a line, but Fantasy Flight manages to keep a giant line all weekend long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as the line gets longer and longer, then they have those guys that are standing there with the laminated placard that just shows you, here's what you can buy. You know, it's like,
Here's what's sold out.
Here's what's sold out since you've been waiting in line for 2 hours.
Right.
Exactly. And the little playing cards. Here, each person in line gets a playing card that allows you to buy something when you get to the front of the line.
Yeah, it's almost like
an
second edition.
awful
Here, take card.
Yeah.
you know what they should do? They should work it like the deli counter at the grocery store. You know,
Food number. Take a number.
I go into the deli counter, I take a number.
Now 7 foot. No, sir. No, I wasn't. No. So
Right. But here's what they should do. Okay, I'm going to make this is what you guys should do. All GenCon vendors that are larger than mom and pop, here's what you should do. Do this trick. So in the olden days, because I used to work in a grocery store in the olden days, the big claim to fame for our grocery store was that we displayed the deli numbers throughout the grocery store. So you could take your deli ticket and you could be in any aisle you wanted. You could be over in the dairy section and you could see that you still had 10 more numbers to go for your deli so you could go do the rest of your shopping. But now in today's age, we have texting. So here's what I think you should do. You should go up to the booth. You should give them your cell phone number and they text you when it's your turn to come back, like a restaurant. When it's your turn to come back and be served at the Fantasy Flight booth. And this way I can go look around at other vendor booths. I know they don't want me to do this because they don't want me spending my money. But this clever plan of keeping me away from the rest of the con, or not even go to the, or I can walk off and actually, you know, play a game with friends.
The truth.
It would be awesome.
Russ, I'm going to go you one better because
Okay.
I know that you and Nicole and your family are Disney people.
We are, yes.
How about the Fantasy Flight Fast Pass?
There you go. That'd be even better.
You just go and you sign
You
up.
schedule
for it.
your
It spits out
time.
a ticket and it says, "Hey, you get to go into the booth at."
Come back at 2:00. Yes, that's brilliant, John. I love it.
That makes sense.
It's even better.
Russ's thing is way too complicated. That makes perfect.
Yeah, I was going the restaurant model, but I like John's Disney model. It's even better. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, Russ. That your idea that you just gave that you used to use at your grocery store seems like a great idea. How come nobody uses that today? 45 years later.
I don't know. I think it's because deli counters are just, no one shops at deli counters anymore.
I just slid an age joke right past.
Everybody buys the packets. Yeah. The pre-cut deli meats. You know,
pre-cut meat.
Deli meat's not, it's not what it used to be.
Pre-cut meat.
Pre-wrapped sausages.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Let's move on. This is starting to get,
Yeah, we're not doing well. So what are you looking for this year? John, what are you looking forward to this year at GenCon?
I live here in Indianapolis, and so I just look forward to it in general. I mean, that's kind of a cop-out answer, I guess, but
It is. Not gonna lie.
what happens? Yeah, okay, I accept that. But the feeling of the city when GenCon is approaching it's noticeable. You start to see you start to see the banners go up. They have like banners on the light posts and things like that, and welcome gamers. And when I start to see that, I start to get really excited. And when the vendors start coming in and everything, I guess I'm just looking forward to the big show. My favorite part of GenCon is just walking around the exhibition hall and seeing all the stuff. And
me
too.
So that's gotten just better and better every year and bigger every year. And so I think it's going to be, even better this year.
Yeah, it was great.
That's an interesting.
Go ahead, Craig. Go ahead, Craig.
That's an interesting point. Because we always talk about when we talk about GenCon, we do our wrap-up episodes and everything. We're always talking about how cool Indianapolis is and how the banners are all neat and stuff. But you, as a native from Indianapolis, you get to see that transition. And is it as genuine as those of us that are outsiders that come in seem to feel that it is? That sort of welcoming atmosphere, yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. People in Indiana like money, so I think that's
true. That's
true. All
Most
those businesses they get geared up for it, and so I think they're excited about it.
Very cool.
And I like living here. I really like being, I guess, kind of an ambassador for the city. So when folks who I know, like you guys who are coming into town and other people from around the country, I like to sort of scope out what are the new restaurants that have come into town or what are new businesses or new things that have come into the city that might be fun for folks that are coming in for GenCon. So I've been kind of scoping out those things. There's a few new restaurants that are going to be, will have popped up by the time you guys get here that'll, be kind of a fun thing to do is to enhance the experience.
Yeah, I hear a particular Chicago pizzeria is now in town.
It is, but it's not downtown yet.
That's a problem. They need to fix that.
Giordano's, which is a Chicago-style pizza place, my personal favorite of the Chicago-style pizza
Mine
places.
too.
They built one up on the north side, which is about it's a good 20-25 minutes from downtown, and that's also about. I live on the far west side of Indianapolis. It's about a half an hour from where I live to the pizza place.
West Side represent.
That's right.
Yep.
and so we have tried to go up there to have pizza. I think 3 times now, and we have been told the wait is 3 to 4 hours every time, and so. It's pretty popular. So I think when it comes downtown, which I think is supposed to be in like October or something like that, that's by next year's Gen Con, that'll be a big featured attraction.
Yes.
Okay. But there's also a couple of, if you like beer, there's a couple of local, it's kind of like craft brewery places that have just opened up. Of course, Granite City's one that's been recent. I think that was just a couple years ago that opened up in Circle Center. But they've also opened one up called the Yard House, which has got a bunch of beers, including local stuff like Sun King and Triton.
Ooh, nice.
And Three Wise Men, stuff like that. And then there's also, I know we're here to talk about the show, but I'll mention one more restaurant. They've opened this place near the Monument Circle called BLTs. Bacon, Legs, and Turntables. And it's probably not what you're thinking.
Oh, it might be.
Or maybe the legs part of it is actually, they serve legs of all kinds.
Oh.
Chicken legs, frog legs, hog legs, which is like pork shank, all kinds of legs. Served with as much bacon as you want.
And
then
now you're
while
talking.
you're eating your bacon-laden legs, they'll be spinning the hits on turntables.
That sounds awesome, actually. I think I can get into that.
I haven't been there yet, but I will try to make it there before Gen Con so I can
John,
give a little report.
This needs to be where we go. This needs to be where we meet for Gen Con. Because one of my favorite things, and I know it's one of your favorite things too, is to hang out with friends that I only get to see at Gen Con every year.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys as well as others there. And so I think that's where we should meet, John. We should meet this place. I can't remember the name now. Bacon, Legs, and Turntables. That's what we should do.
Bacon, Legs, and Turntables.
That seems like a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
Well,
that's awesome.
If nothing else, it's a thing.
It's a thing. Well, you can't go wrong with any of those components. Put them all together seems even better.
Right.
I don't know. Legs.
What? Chicken legs? Pork leg is Haxen, which is awesome. I had it in Germany. It's fantastic. Yeah, no, that's all good. That's all good food.
Anyway, there'll also be some gaming that goes on that weekend.
Oh, yes. There is that segue. Well done.
Sorry.
Nice. It's a professional.
Yeah.
It's good to work with a professional, ladies and gentlemen, in Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
And good to work with me, too.
So what are you looking forward to this year, John? Any particular events that you were dying to get into?
Well, I've been really interested and excited about the Marvel and other licenses Dice Masters game. Have you guys played the Dice Masters game yet?
I have not, but our other friends locally are loving it.
Yeah, my game group is really loving that too. And there was a big sort of production or supply and demand issue when this game first came out, and they had a Marvel versus Avengers set that no one could get a hold of. And so I think that it was released last year, and there were supposed to be a bunch of events at Gen Con, and then they just didn't have any product. And so they weren't able to really do what they were, they didn't have the big release that they wanted to. But in the past year, they have released not only the Marvel vs. Avengers set, they've released an Uncanny X-Men set, they've released a Justice League DC set, a Yu-Gi-Oh set,
wow, and
a Dungeons and Dragons set. And
they're nothing if not persistent once they have a winner over there.
Yeah. There's a dead horse that is getting whipped to a pulp.
Flogged. They're good at flogging the horses.
Yeah. And so with my game group, I think it was the Dungeons and Dragons one that really hit with them. And so we all bought starter packs for it, and then we've been doing what's called a rainbow draft.
What's that?
Where it's where you just bring in the game, if you've played Warriors, it's sort of similar to that, but you're it's like a dice building game. You're building dice into a bag and buying them, and they all represent superheroes that you're then rolling, and then you're attacking your opponent with, in sort of a Magic the Gathering style, get someone from 20 down to 0 life points. And so, there's just a whole stable of different kind of characters you can get for this. And for a rainbow draft, you just bring these sort of basic action cards and basic dice that you get in any of these versions of the game. You bring those with you, and then you buy 12 booster packs. Each booster pack costs only $1, retail $1, and it includes 2 dice and 2 cards that go along with those particular dice. And so you do basically a big draft where you have these 12 packs in front of you, and you open them up, and you put all the cards together. You actually do it in 2 sets of 6. So you put like 12 cards together and then 12 cards in another stack. Then all the dice that you've taken out, you throw them all into the middle of the table, and you arrange them kind of in an order so it looks like a rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way you also know how many dice are available in the middle of the table. Because what will happen is you'll then draft the cards, pick a card, pass it down, pick a card, pass it down. But if you get multiples of the same card, you can take multiple dice. And so you'd only be able to have one, beholder in front of you, but then you might have drafted 3 of those cards, which means that you could have 3 beholder dice that you can keep and put those in front of you. Having more dice is better in the game,
right?
Because you can get more of them out on the table. Anyway, so then you just put together an army based upon those, and then you play like a 3-round sort of Swiss round sort of a thing, and you can rank the winners and everything. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. We've been able to do that in just a 2.5 hour period of time in our game group on our game night. And so anyway, long story short, too late. There's a bunch of Rainbow Draft events at GenCon.
Oh, cool.
For this. So I signed up for one of those, and that's probably the biggest one that I'm excited about this year, is because I've really been enjoying that game. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Cool.
That looks very cool. Great. Craig, what about you? Are there any particular events you are pumped for?
Well, I'm looking forward to the Fantasy Flight in-flight report, because we haven't been able to go there for 5 years.
Yes.
So because of your event, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the first time in 5 years we've been able to go to the Fantasy Flight in-flight report. So I hope it's as good as it was the last time I went 5 years ago.
Yeah, we moved our event
and I'm looking forward, because now, I mean, if you think about all of their hotness, 2 of their biggest things right now are the Star Wars Armada and Imperial Assault, both of which I love and I'm in all the way and I've spent way too much money on. So I'm super excited to be there, when that, to hear them and see the slides and everything, to see what the next level of these 2 games is going to be. And that kind of excitement that you miss out on. I mean, you get to see all the stuff after the report at their booth and everything, which is always cool. But you miss that, like, shared excitement that you get in that room of, a couple hundred people that are all super excited about the same thing, and then you see the pictures and you turn to your friends going like, "Oh my god, I totally knew that was going to happen," So I'm
Right.
looking forward to that. The vendor hall, I spend the vast majority of my time in the vendor hall. So
yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't think this is the first year I think I'm not going to end up doing True Dungeon.
Yeah?
Which is sort of sad.
What about you, John?
True Dungeon sold out faster than like it ever has before.
It did sell out like instantly.
And so the guys that usually try to herd the cats and get that all put together, Shifty and the other guys, and all of them kind of got caught by surprise.
Yeah, they didn't bother.
And didn't really want to, they didn't want to herd the cats anymore, especially in the face of, try to piece together a party from these, these open slots, and so we're not going to go. And I'm not too broken up about it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was a big giant chunk of one of your days where you knew you were going to have to be at a certain place, and it was going to sort of dictate everything that happened around it. So I am going to miss it, but I'm not super torn up about it. John, what are you going to do? True Dungeon? Did you guys get in again?
No, I didn't do True Dungeon last year either, and I think I've kind of gotten to the point where I've experienced, to use an economic term, because I'm in a graduate economic class right now, the law of diminishing marginal utility. I've done it for so many years now that every subsequent year has just been okay for me, and I'm just finding that personally for me, as someone who's done it so many years, it's just not worth the money anymore. I still recommend it to anybody who's never done it. I think it's definitely worth it for that first time or second time. And if it's the kind of event you're into, then absolutely go for it. But I've just done it so many times now that I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I had a blast whenever it was a group of my friends and everybody was in the right mood. It's awesome. And it's just been getting better and better. That's true. It's also been getting more and more expensive. Right. The key is like now that
way over $40 now.
Yeah, I think it's almost $50 now. Almost $50, which is a chunk of change.
Which for a family of four is a serious investment.
Yeah, it's a board. Exactly. Right. Where you're trying to parse out what money you've got left already. And, I mean, my big issue was, I think, as you said, like, everybody was kind of like, nah. So when it was all like, oh, this is exciting, then you share that excitement and it gets better. But when everybody's going in going, nah. I mean, it's really funny. Last year we took a group picture and you could just tell from the group picture, everybody was like, here we are. doing True Dungeon again. Whatever. So I felt that, like, that almost leached some of the fun out of me. Not while I was doing it. I loved it while I was doing it. And afterwards I was like, hey guys, that was awesome! And everybody's like, eh. And I went, oh, is it? Maybe it is meh. I don't know. I guess it's meh. I'm experiencing meh. This is a state of meh. All right.
Well,
I always wondered. You see that online and you wonder, what is meh? Now I know.
Yeah.
So not gonna do that, but I mean, to be blunt, I'm super scared of signing up for anything. Russ does all my signing up for me because I'm terrified. I get anxiety just like even.
I wasn't able to get
all of the different things.
So the good news is the signing up process for me worked fine in terms of the software, the website. Everything worked great. Yeah. I was able to put my wish list together. I submitted my wish list. I submitted my wish list on Sunday at like 12 noon exactly. I hit the submit button. I ended up 4,238th in line or whatever it was. And 15 minutes later I got processed and I got none of the things on my wish list. That was
none of them.
Well, I mean, I got the stuff you always, so I got, the flight report because there's several hundred seats. I'm going to the Dice Tower thing on Friday. Although that sold out. I'm mad props to Tom and everybody. They sold that out, which is awesome.
Yeah. 500 seat venue for that.
I know. That's the biggest one they've done, right? That's awesome.
So jealous.
So it was awesome. So, but then I wanted to get my daughters last year saw the giant, Robo Rally game they play with Lego Mindstorm. So they wanted to get into that and there's like, that goes all week. So I tried to get into several of those. Those were all booked. I wanted to see a demo of the new, Undercity dungeon crawling game from Privateer Press. Those were all booked. So a lot of the things I just wanted to do, and there was a couple that were just like kids role-playing game things that were all booked. So I didn't really get into anything, but it doesn't really bother me too much because like I said, I'm with Craig. I mostly just wander around and play pickup games. And the most fun times I have at GenCon are the people, just hanging out with a bunch of gamers, which is always fun, but then also just seeing the stuff I don't expect. So I almost don't even want to schedule too much anyway. But there were a couple of things I was kind of hoping to do that I couldn't do. So I still feel like they need, I don't know if there's just so many people attending now and the companies haven't got enough slots to handle it. But it was just, I just found the events I wanted to do were all filled up.
I'm just wondering if we're getting close to the point where, Gen Con's gonna have to cap admission.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll have to see what the numbers are like this year.
Right. Yeah, they don't cap admission, right?
I did feel last year that it was too big for me personally.
Yeah,
like it was bigger than I was like fun. Like my fun was a little never in the vendor hall, which is always odd to me. But wandering around looking for food and everything, it was just so many people and lines are so long, and I don't know. I think I've got like massive psychological issues that I've never just noticed.
Well, I'm leaning on John more. I'm going to more, less touristy places. Because you're right, like the food trucks and the Ram and,
it's funny because the food trucks are relatively new for GenCon.
Right. But they're right there.
And it didn't take long. Exactly. Right. They're like, this is such a good idea that it's already swamped.
But there are great restaurants like 2 blocks away that nobody knows about. So you go to those. And so John turned me a few of those last year. Those are great. So you just gotta, so I don't think the city's overwhelmed, but there's definitely the places everybody knows about that overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But my biggest, I still am a new hotness guy, so I'm always excited to see the new stuff. So all that it means that I didn't get into an Undercity demo, it means that Thursday morning I have to go right to the Privateer Press booth, buy Undercity so I can play with you guys Thursday night. That's pretty much my plan now at that point. Right. So my favorite event is going to be, hopefully Undercity will be releasing that day. I will be buying it and then running upstairs Thursday evening to play with people. That's my goal. Because Dungeon Crawler, I love all the Dungeon Crawlers, so why not one more?
Sure, you can't have too many of those.
Russ can never have too many Dungeon Crawlers.
I can't. I'm very rarely disappointed by this. So, John, what are the big hotnesses that are releasing for you at Gen Con this year? Anything you're really excited about?
There's one thing in particular, and I've actually had the opportunity to play it already a few times, but not the English version, and that's a board game called Mysterium.
Ooh.
Or it's a Polish publisher, so I don't even want to try to pronounce the Polish version. It's like Tajanimuwadza Domostowobo, something like that.
I think that's exactly it, actually.
I think that's it. Perfect Polish, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll put the perfect Polish filter when you edit this, right?
I'll add it right in there.
Exactly.
It sounds like this pierogi.
Right.
Google Translate.
But this is a game, it's kind of a gateway game. I've heard it called Clue for Gamers, or Dixit with a Purpose.
Oh, Dixit with a Purpose.
If you've ever played Dixit
the bunny
before.
rabbits are the purpose, okay?
Right, well,
moving the wooden bunny rabbits are the purpose.
Yeah, and just real quick, it's a really cool game where you're basically, it's a cooperative game where you're playing a series of investigators, a set of investigators who are investigating a murder that happened in a house.
Oh, you told
And
me
then
about
one
this.
of the players plays the dead person.
Yeah.
It's like the ghost. And who is trying to communicate to the investigators to try to help them to solve the crime, and is communicating to them in the form of dreams.
Ooh.
And so there's a set on in front of the table for everybody. There's a set of weapons, locations, and people. And then the ghost player will basically match up one of each of those things with each player. So each player will get their own set of weapon, location, and person.
Uh-huh.
And so then you sort of start off with the bottom row, which is the weapon. And so then the ghost player will have all of these cards, the kind of Dixit-style cards. And I think, from what I've heard, the American version, it's going to be the same artist who did Dixit is going to be doing this. I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't quote me, but I think that it's going to be that same artist.
Wow.
And so then the ghost player then has to take and place cards in front of each player that represents a dream that they're having about that particular weapon, let's say.
It does sound like Dixit.
Yeah, and they can do it however they want to. It's not just laying a card down. They can arrange them in a certain way, or they can make them into a certain shape, or so you don't really know when you're looking at it. Is it the color that I should care about? Is it what's actually on the card that I should care about? Is it the shape of the cards? But you're trying to figure these out, and you do it all cooperatively. And
Can I lay the cards out in an arrow pointing at Craig, trying to show everybody that he killed me?
I think you could maybe do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, I don't know. The rules are in Polish. It could be Agricola, and I have no idea.
Agricola.
This is what I thought I was doing. And so anyway, you kind of work through all of these clues, and then you do one big final dream at the end to determine who the real murderer is. But it's fantastic, and I got to play it several times this past weekend at Geekway to the West, which is a board game convention in St. Louis that I went to. And so it's been real popular, and there's a Polish version and a Ukrainian version that I've had a chance to play, but the American version is coming from Asmodee. From what I hear at GenCon, so that may be a run in and get first.
All right, I would like to sign up for one of your tables for that, John. If you're going to play that at GenCon, I'd like to play with you.
Oh, sure, yeah, that sounds like fun.
That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. I think I'd like that.
Yep.
Very cool. Craig, what about you? Any big releases at GenCon you're excited about?
I never know what's coming on at GenCon. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I don't have my finger on the pulse ever. And then you guys will all start to get excited, and I'll find out through that.
Are there any manufacturers' booths other than the obvious ones?
I'll tell you. Rumor has it that Spartan Games will finally be at GenCon.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So I'm hoping that's true, because I would like to meet Neil face to face and slap him. No, just kidding.
Nice.
and buy him a beer, and I'll have a Diet Coke, and I'll see what else I can get out of him for like Halo news and stuff like that. Mm. But so that would be cool.
He's a 6 foot tall Asian woman. It's really weird. But you'll find that out, Craig. You'll find out. So.
Right. Yeah. No, we all have to find these things out for ourselves.
Spoiler.
And so that's cool, and that'd be neat.
Yeah.
And the exciting thing for me usually is the stuff I don't know about till I get there.
Right. So
that's usually the real kicker for me.
I'm a little bummed I have to actually miss your event this year. I think your event, the Play by Mom, is at like Thursday in the evening, right?
Thursday at 9. Yeah, you can't stay that late.
No, unfortunately or fortunately, I guess I'm happy that I'm doing this. But I bought my wife and I tickets to see Kelly Clarkson in concert.
Oh, well.
And that's one of her very favorite artists, and they're going to be with Pentatonics, who's like a cappella group that's real popular.
Well, that's exciting.
So yeah, and when I bought the tickets, I did not know that they were anywhere near Gen Con.
Because you're like, July, I'm safe.
Yeah, exactly. In July, no problem. I got a couple weeks.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll actually be at that concert on Thursday night, but I'll be back bright and early on Friday morning.
All right. Well, we'll miss you, John.
Very nice of you.
We'll miss you,
and we will miss you.
But
more than anyone listening right now knows.
Right. John, so for the past, several years, John has been our sound guy at Gen Con. So, when the sound quality is not as good this year, you'll know why.
You'll know why.
Because basically Craig and I are doing it ourselves. Right.
When it's better.
We'll blame John. We'll just listen to some Kelly Clarkson in the background. It'll give you the feeling.
Right. There you go. In fact, we should ask John to record Kelly Clarkson with his phone, and if we can't manage to record our show, we'll just run that.
Yeah.
I can't do that, unfortunately, Craig, because I just this past weekend went to go see Rush in St. Louis. And I had to deal with the guy standing in front of me who recorded almost the entire concert on his phone. And,
use that
and
guy.
Then I posted a picture of this guy on my Facebook, which, I don't rant very often. I almost never on Facebook.
No, that's very confrontational. Yeah.
I ranted a little bit. And then, of course, I got the reply from my old college roommate, pointing out the irony of me taking a picture of the guy and lambasting him for taking pictures. So there's no possible way that I'm going to record
a concert.
I get it.
Just don't post it on Facebook, John.
You're retired from pirating.
That's right. That's the lesson learned there.
Now, I actually am going to be participating in one seminar event, though, and I just found out about this just today.
Which one?
A good friend of mine who is part of my gaming group, unbeknownst to me or to many of the other folks in our gaming group, she actually set up and organized an event about creating a sustainable game group.
Oh, cool.
And I guess she was just going to wait until the last minute to tell us. So I'm going to be on.
Well, she didn't want everything to fall apart before.
Right.
No, I guess not. Yeah, but she texted us all today and said, I booked a room for 100 people, and there've been 56 people have bought tickets for it.
Nice.
Like, oh, okay. But it's called, I'll go ahead and just, if any of your listeners are interested in it, it's Seminar 1576869, which is, the title of it is, that's right, yeah. I was ready for it. And it's called Secrets to Friends and Gaming, How to Create a Sustainable Game Night Group.
Nice.
And it's pretty much going to be just folks from my game group, the Game on Game Night, and probably some other folks that my friend Rebecca is friends with, to just talk about how to create a successful game night, something that's sustainable, how to make new friends, and to keep them for years to come, because we've had a pretty strong group that we've kept for a number of years. So,
well, if our models are anything to go by, the step one, make a podcast. Get thousands of listeners, then invite them to game with you.
And I was thinking about that, Russ, because that's sort of how our game night got started.
Right.
We used our podcast as the advertising tool.
Exactly. So,
I was joking with my wife earlier. I'm like, that's all I'll just tell them. Just start a podcast and you can make your own group. Right.
So cool. Well, so anything else we're excited about? I think other than those are the big things. There's only the one. I'm with Craig this year. I'm sure there's lots and lots of games coming up, but I've been more excited about only a couple this year. I'm just more excited just to go and play. I love just hanging out and playing and going to the vendor hall. And another thing I love to do is, my daughter Rose now is in the War Machine, and she loves to go and play we play in the Iron Arena now. We always bring our armies, and we at least get one game in the Iron Arena, because you get to play on those really, really cool tables. So she, as a 12-year-old, gets to experience those kind of tables that are just awesome looking, and you get to play on them, and you don't have to be in a tournament. You just play. And that's been a lot of fun too. So that's a great way for kids who are into miniature gaming to really experience, how mom and dad play War Machine as a young kid, which is fun. So
nice. And my son, who's 12, he's not really much of a tabletop gamer. He's really very much more into video games and very much into Minecraft and Pokemon. Those are kind of the two things that he lives and dies by. But we don't talk very much about electronic gaming at Gen Con, because there's not a whole lot of that goes on.
There's a little though.
But there is a little. And one thing they have is they have these special servers and worlds that they've created in Minecraft for for GenCon, and I think they've even worked on a scale model of the city of Indianapolis.
Oh, cool.
And so you can actually purchase a ticket to go and play on those servers for an hour, and up to 80 players on the server. So that might be something that I'll get for I usually bring my wife and kids on Sunday because it's less expensive.
My daughters might like that too. Actually, I'll have to check the Minecraft. I didn't even think to look for Minecraft at GenCon. I'll have to check that out. Good tip.
Yeah, I just happened to be searching for events the other day and saw all the electronic stuff, and they've got quite a few things that look pretty interesting. So
I'm
so
check
it's something
that out
you
now.
can do too. There's something
cool.
for everybody, really. I mean,
there you go.
If you've never been to GenCon, that's that's the main thing to know is that I've talked to a lot of people that are kind of scared to go to a big convention like GenCon.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start with a smaller convention. I would almost say just start with GenCon. No. Just come and just
comparing
into the deep end.
Yeah, just take the fire hose full force.
Well, comparing another convention to GenCon is like comparing a carnival to Disney World. It's just not the same thing. It's just different. And so I think you're never really going to understand what GenCon is until you go to it. And I don't think it's scary at all. Go there, have fun. Don't try to plan too much. Just go there and absorb it because it's just awesome.
Yep. So much.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
So much to do and see.
Yes. All right. Well, the Dunkin' Donuts guy's given us the evil eye, especially since John kept mentioning
he's been giving John the evil eye since we sat down.
Right. John. So,
sorry.
All right.
Not really.
Haters gonna hate.
That's right.
Haters gonna hate.
Can we get out of here and actually go
Don't sing. Don't. He's singing, John.
Oh.
All right. We're gonna. Okay. Well, let's go on then. So, John, thank you so much for joining us here in Dunkin' Donuts, and we will see you again in about a week. We'll have you on the big main show here.
And then in about 60 some odd days.
Yeah, and then we'll see you at GenCon for reals. Can't wait.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.